Do you know about the outbreak that started beneath London in 2023? Beneath the city, hidden in the depths of the underground, a secret laboratory made a fatal mistake. They unleashed something that should never have seen the light of day. The day started as it always did for Katie, a 28-year-old office worker, tired but hopeful for a normal commute. Her short auburn hair was still damp from the rain, and her blue jacket clung to her body as she boarded the Piccadilly line. The tube screeched to a halt between stations, the lights above flickering erratically. "Due to an emergency, this train will be delayed," crackled the voice over the intercom, garbled, more static than words. The air felt heavy, charged with something she couldn't name. Across from her sat a middle-aged man in a crumpled suit, beads of sweat glistening on his unnaturally pale skin. His breath came out in short, ragged bursts. Katie's heart quickened, her pulse thudding in her ears. Then, it happened. He convulsed violently, limbs twitching uncontrollably. His eyes rolled back into his head, revealing nothing but white. His lips curled into a grotesque smile as blood dripped from his nose. Without warning, he lunged, mouth wide, revealing blackened, rotting teeth. Katie screamed, stumbling back into the metal door behind her as he clawed at her, his strength unnatural. All around her, commuters began collapsing, one after the other, their bodies twisted, bones snapping audibly as they transformed into snarling, ravenous creatures. Panic flooded the train as people tried to escape, but the infected were too fast. Screams echoed down the narrow cars, blood splattering the walls in a gruesome cascade. Katie pushed her way out through the emergency door, her breath coming in shallow gasps. She ran, her footsteps echoing off the cold, damp walls of the underground tunnels. The stench of decay grew stronger with each step, mixing with the humid air that clung to her skin. The sound of snarling grew louder behind her. Her only option was to descend deeper into the tunnels. With each turn, the passages became darker, narrower, and the shadows stretched unnaturally long. She could hear the creatures following, their growls reverberating through the stone. The walls seemed to close in, as if the underground itself were alive, hungry. Katie found herself in an abandoned station. The lights above flickered weakly, casting sickly green and yellow hues on the grime-coated walls. Old, torn posters fluttered in a faint breeze that shouldn't have existed. The station was empty, but she knew she wasn't alone. Her hand gripped a rusted metal pipe she had picked up from the tracks, her only defense. Silence was suffocating, broken only by the occasional distant shriek or the eerie scrape of metal far away. Every shadow seemed to move, every sound amplified by her fear. Her chest tightened. She wasn't sure how long she could last. Suddenly, the air shifted, heavy footsteps echoed down the platform. Katie's pulse quickened as her knuckles whitened around the pipe. She backed into a corner, her eyes darting from shadow to shadow. They were coming. From the tunnel's darkness, shapes emerged, twisted, grotesque figures, their skin hanging in rotting patches, eyes glowing with a feral hunger. She could hear their raspy breaths, smell the rancid stench of death that clung to their decaying bodies. Katie tightened her grip on the pipe, knowing the fight was inevitable. The creatures, now fully visible, were worse than anything she could have imagined. Their teeth gnashed, their mouths dripping with dark, thick saliva. Their clawed hands twitched as they advanced. Her heart pounded in her ears. There was no escape. The only way out was through them. The first creature lunged at her, and Katie swung the pipe with all her strength. The impact echoed through the empty station, but more were coming. They wouldn't stop. The underground was theirs now.